just wanted to do like a really quick 2-second update for how day 1 of the readathon went. It is now currently day 2. Yesterday I started I Am Malala by Malala Yousafzai. Realized how to pronounce that name, and you'll see in the clip before I butchered the last name so badly. So I started reading this, listening to it on audiobook because I figured that my day 1 thing should be primarily an audiobook because I was going to be working for a majority of the day, and I still wanted to get some decent reading done for the readathon. So yes, the subtitle has the word girl in it, if I haven't explained that already, and I read the first 142 pages of that. I alternated between listening and reading, and yes, this is a memoir about Malala's life, and I will explain more about how I feel about it in the update for today, because I finished it today. But I will let you know how many pages I read and how far I've gone in my reading overall for the readathon for day 2 tomorrow. So yeah. Hey, it's day 3 of the Buzzword Girl Readathon, and yeah, I just thought that I would give an update of how day 2 went. I read the remaining 90 pages of I Am Malala, so I finished it, and I really liked it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I feel like it's the kind of book that people should be made to read in high school, because lots of the times high schoolers are little bitches who don't appreciate the fact that they get to go to school. And I tabbed a lot of it. At the end of the audiobook, there's a her United Nations speech, I believe, and it's really sad, but it's also kind of endearing, like reading the Diary of Anne Frank. So yes, I would recommend this one for basically any teenager that has to go to school. Then afterwards, I've been doing this thing where, since I was in the middle of a couple of books before the readathon started, and I didn't want to just completely abandon everything I was reading, I wanted to just read one chapter of Ready Player One for every book I finish. So after I finished I Am Malala, I read a chapter of Ready Player One. Then afterwards, I picked up Snot Girl, Volume 1 by Brian Lee O'Malley. I have read the first few single issues already, so I already knew that I loved Lottie, and I loved the story and the art style and everything so much, and then reading the material that I hadn't read before was really cool, and it left on a cliffhanger, and I'm excited that now this has been picked up again for more issues to be released, and I think later this month the second trade comes out, so I'm excited for that. I give this one a 5 out of 5 stars. And then after I finished that, I, once again, read another chapter of Ready Player One, and then after that, I went on my Kindle, and I read Shy Girls Write It Better by May Sage. Looks like this. The cover on Goodreads looks different, so I prefer my cover, is the reason I picked it up. So I was really disappointed to find out that he doesn't have any tattoos, because that's the main reason I picked that up. But it was mad cute. It is about a girl who she writes erotic romance novels, and she self-publishes them, but to kind of pay her bills and stuff, she also works as an office worker. And the CEO of the company that she works for is obviously very gorgeous and all that stuff, and she has like a crush on him, and she is printing out her latest book one day, and then there's like a whole confusion, and their folders get mixed up, and he ends up having her manuscript, and she ends up having like whatever professional files he was printing out, and it kind of takes off from there. It's really quick, but it's really fun and light, and you know, there's hints of S&M, which I wasn't anticipating, but, you know, I really appreciated it. And then after that, I read another chapter this morning for day 3 of Ready Player One, and then I'm going to pick up whatever I choose to pick up. I gave Shy Girls Write It Better 4 out of 5 stars. So far, I'm enjoying everything I'm picking up, and hopefully I pick up at least one thing and get through a majority of it today. Because today is definitely a school day for me. So we'll see how it goes, because I'm going to try to do a majority of my assignments for all my classes today, because then I have work and other stuff on other days, but I'm going to try to get as much reading done as I can. And yeah, so I'm probably not going to get a day that went as well as day 2 went, with finishing a book, reading another one, and then reading another one, but we'll see how it goes. So I will check in tomorrow for an update of day 3. Hi, Melina here, and I just really quickly wanted to wrap up the books that I read for the Buzzword Readathon. I kind of think that it's crazy how many books I actually managed to read. I didn't read anything in May until the readathon started, and I got through nearly everything that I was planning on getting to. The only things that I didn't get to, and it's just because the TBR that I made was so long, it was literally every book that I had that had the word girl in it that I hadn't read yet. I just didn't get to The French Girl, The Girls by Emma Cline, and Gunslinger Girl. Those are the only ones I didn't get to, and I plan on getting to them soon. Probably not this month, because there's books that I'm in the middle of that I want to finish, and June I only read LGBT books for Pride, but probably July I'll just finish all the girl books, because I was really in a mood, and it turned out to be something that I really liked. So, anyways, first one that I finished it on the second day of the readathon, and that is I Am Malala, How One Girl Stood Up for Education and Changed the World by Malala Yousafzai. This I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, but it was pretty depressing. It's kind of like reading the Diary of Anne Frank, because it's such an innocent but very beautiful and very like strong voice in such a terrible like war situation, and I tabbed a lot of it. Like I mentioned earlier, I think that, like, you know, the audiobook had her speech at the end of it, and it's gorgeous. I would recommend, and I think it should be required reading in high school. Then, the next one I read on the second day was Snot Girl by Brian Lee O'Malley and Leslie Hung. As I've established, I love this. I already had read some of the issues before, and I'm just a big fan of the art style, of the story, of everything about it. It's gorgeous, and I'm really excited to continue with the series. That one was a 5 out of 5 stars. Next, that on day 2 as well, I'm just holding up my Kindle, like, in its little Five Nights at Freddy's case, because it's dead, so I can't show the picture, like the cover of the book, but in an ebook I read Shy Girls Write It Better. I think I've shown it and mentioned the author earlier, and that one was an ebook, and it was about a woman who is shy, and she writes erotic novels, and she has a relationship with the CEO of her company. It's one of those cliche adult romance novels. It was great. I think I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars, just because it was really short and it wasn't super original in terms of things that I've read, but it was totally enjoyable. I think I got it for free on the Kindle store, and I would really recommend it to anyone. Next is a controversial one, and it is Not That Kind of Girl by Lena Dunham. This I started reading by checking out on my library app and listening to the audiobook, because I listened to I Am Malala on audiobook, and then I wanted to listen to this because I've been working, so I liked having audiobooks, and they helped me get through a lot of stuff. Well, those were the only two I listened to, but it helped move things along. This is a book that I used to want to read because I've seen it everywhere. I've seen it on like all the celebrity social media accounts and stuff, and I'm really into memoirs, so I wanted to pick it up. But then all of a sudden everyone started hating Lena Dunham, everyone started hating this book, and I know, because I've read it and because I knew about all the controversy before picking it up, why it's considered controversial, because of there's people believe that she was basically admitting to sexually assaulting her sister in this book. I think that it's a very polarizing topic, because it's I feel like it's everyone's attacking it, but everyone in the situation involved does not believe that it was sexual assault. The victim in question, her sister, does not believe it was sexual assault. it was a 7-year-old kid doesn't make it okay, but you're gonna crucify somebody for something that they did when they were 7 years old. Like, so, I ended up giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. I took out a half star just because all of the controversy is just a lot of things that ended up taking away from the general message of the story. And also there was a solid chapter that in audiobook was very excruciatingly boring of her like meal plans and what she ate. That was literally like where I'm like, oh my god, what is the point of this? But the rest, I did tab this a lot. I did enjoy this. I do think that it has a strong feminist message and a strong message for people who suffer from mental illness. I think that it's a very interesting book. And either way, whether it's somebody you like or not, like I've read Marilyn Manson's autobiography where he talks about some really fucked up stuff that he's done in his life, and that's as a full-grown, rational adult thinking about things, and I just think it's interesting to learn about people's lives, the good things they've done, the bad things they've done. She's a very chaotic, self-involved person who has made very questionable decisions with men and drug use, but she's interesting. And kind of like when I read Mindy Kaling's memoir, I kind of want to watch Girls Now to see if it's something that I would be into. I ended up giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. Like, come at me, I guess. And yeah, what else? Then I read The Girl Who Was Supposed to Die by April Henry. I think I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's very short, and I enjoyed it a lot. The first half is probably like one of the best thrillers I've ever read, but it kind of became a hot mess towards the end, and I think that it suffered from its length, and I think that if it gave itself like another, like, not too much, just like 20 to 50 pages to kind of lengthen everything out, it would have probably been like at least a solid 4 stars for me. I really liked the characters. Maybe not specifically the main character, because she is suffering from amnesia for a majority of this book, and I do love amnesia stories, but the main character also always has like this kind of blank slate personality, because they don't know how they are, what kind of things they're into, because they don't remember anything. But the main love interest in this book, I loved him so much. He kind of helps her out because this is like a thriller book, and you know, there's always that kind of one person that's helping the person so they're not all alone most of the time, and it's just really good. I would recommend like checking it out from the library or something, because I don't think this would be for everybody, but I do recommend people read this. The plot summary is really simple. It's just about a girl who wakes up on the floor of a cabin, and she doesn't know where she is or like what's really going on. She just can hear 2 men talking about whether or not they should kill her. It's good. I think the first half is infinitely better than the second half. That was the last complete book that I finished, and then within the last day or two of the readathon, I had started Love Star Girl by Jerry Spinelli, and I read the first 70 pages of it, and this book is like 270 pages, so I read the first third of this, and now I'm further because it's been like a day or two since the readathon ended, but I'm loving it a lot. I love Stargirl, like the first book, but my main issue with that book was Leo, and this one is actually in Stargirl's point of view. Leo isn't there, but she is writing to him, so I find it much more enjoyable just having just her and not all of the negative elements that I didn't like before. It is a very sad book so far. She's suffering through some pretty strong depression after everything that happened in the first book, but I'm enjoying it. And that is all. So I have completed 5 full books, and then like a third of a 6th one, and it's crazy amongst like school and work that I got all that shit done. So I'm really excited. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see me like talk about books more. Bye.